Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome back to the Planet FPL Weekender. My Friday partner in crime, David Hunter, is back with me, and we promised not to put Liverpool on the agenda. How are you, mate?
Very well. I'm very grateful not to be talking about Liverpool today. Thanks, mate. How are you?
I thought I might give you the international break off, and maybe we'll
Cheers.
cover it
Yeah.
next Friday in a bit more detail. Got lots on this one, lots of kind of short, sharp topics, a bit of coverage of the international football from last night, including a brilliant victory for the Republic of Ireland. We're to have a chat about Harvey Elliott and what's happening to him currently at Aston Villa. A little talk about Fulham, some interesting speculation involving them towards the start of this week. We're going to do Wolves versus Crystal Palace as a little bit of a preview, which I thought would be nice with Rob Edwards, obviously, is officially now the Wolverhampton Wanderers manager. And then we're not going to do free hit and wildcard drafts towards the end of this one. We will do it next Thursday, is when the weekend will be out next week. Are you going to be on free hit, are you, David?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that would be particularly interesting. We're going to do a little bit of a fun A versus B, I think, where we've picked like 10 players at similar price in FBL and kind of an A versus B. Who should you buy out the two of them? But we'll start with a brilliant victory for the Republic of Ireland last night. I presume, like me, David, you were watching England.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. I've not even seen the goals, to be honest, of the Ireland game, but it's not really about the goals, is it? It's probably about
Well,
something else.
I have seen the goals,
Yeah.
and first and foremost, we want to give a nod to Ireland because after they lost in Armenia, they looked absolutely shot and kind of out. If they win in Hungary on Sunday, it's a 2 o'clock kickoff actually on Sunday, they will be in the playoffs.
Mhm.
So they've given themselves a shot, and I think that's probably all Irish fans would have wanted out of this group against Portugal and Hungary. A
Yeah.
horrible team to play against, actually, a decent side. To go into the last game with a chance of qualification, that's an upturn. They've got themselves in a decent position there. Whether they'll be able to go to Budapest and win, I doubt, but they've got the opportunity to do so. Both goals scored from Troy Parrott, who is a
Someone you know
player
well. Yeah.
I know well. Yeah, he was very highly rated at Tottenham as a kid. Famously, we played Norwich in an FA Cup fifth round game, which I want to say was our last home game before COVID happened. And Harry Kane was injured. I think Heung-min Son was injured, like really light up front. And the crowd is baying for Mourinho to put Troy Parrott on, which he did to like rapturous cheers and stuff. Bear in mind, this is going back, so what, 6 years? And of course, Parrott missed the penalty, didn't he? And Mourinho was a bit like, well, it's what happens when you put kids on. Like,
Yeah. Classic
yep,
Mourinho. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And he didn't really get a look in at Tottenham again after that. And there was a lot of speculation with him that he was hanging around with the wrong crowd. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it was a lot of rumours in that within the Tottenham circles. And he's gone off to Alkmaar now and played against us in Europe last year and acquitted himself pretty well. And I think this has probably been waiting to happen for a long time for him to become the Republic of Ireland's number nine. Score 2 goals now in a fixture like this against an opponent like that will give confidence now for him to feel like he potentially belongs in that position.
I guess it's him and Evan Ferguson, isn't there, competing for that number 9
Well,
spot, but
Evan Ferguson is,
injured.
yeah, name for Irish fans to keep an eye on. I'm sure Irish fans already know Mason Melia, who's joining Tottenham in January, who's been tearing it up in the League of Ireland, and he's still a pup. He's a teenager. He's, I guess, the one that will hope in forthcoming years breaks through. But yeah, super result from them. You
Mhm.
are right, unfortunately. Something happens with Mr. Richest footballer of all time, and we have to talk about it, don't we? So Cristiano Ronaldo was sent off last night. You said to me off camera before we started, I thought it was a bit unlucky. I disagree.
I mean, it is technically violent conduct, isn't it? So I guess from the letter of the law, he probably does need to
He
go. But
slings out an elbow, doesn't he? And VAR's
yeah,
in play, you're going to get done.
yeah, it looked like the island lads maybe made a bit more of it. But I mean, I've got no sympathy. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Ronaldo would do exactly the same if the roles were reversed, wouldn't they? It was
Yeah.
more is that because he got a yellow, didn't he? He was. I couldn't quite work out whether it was to one of the island defenders or whether it was to the fans behind the goal, where he was
I
doing all
think
the crying gesture.
I've seen a video taken from within the crowd behind the goal, and it does look like he's doing it to a player rather than
Right.
the crowd, in fairness. But the way it's picked up on television doesn't look like
Yeah.
he's giving it the big one to the fans because he's kind of really close up on him as it often is. And he's giving it the kind of closed fist and wiping his eyes as if like, yeah, I'm all right here. Tables turn off to VAR. You're sent off. And then somewhat bizarrely, after he's sent off, he does that kind of nodding, grumpy face acknowledgement, decides to stop, do like a 360 clap of the whole ground, and then keeps putting his thumbs up as if like, yeah, well done, like you won.
Yeah,
It's box office stuff, by the way. Like the crowd there are
still
going
is. Yeah,
mental. They
yeah.
absolutely love it. They've obviously riled him up and it's worked. I don't think a 40-year-old man should be acting like that. Sorry, he's similar age to me. He's better looking than me. He's richer than me. All these things, but don't act like that, man. You're coming off like all the things we say about Ronaldo when he was like a kid at United, petulant. It's amateur hour, isn't it?
It is really, yeah, yeah. He'd said some things in the lead up to the game, hadn't he? Saying
Yep,
he's going to be a good boy and not, and hopefully
that
people
went
won't put
well.
it too much. Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes I have to kind of check myself with Ronaldo because I mean, what a player he's been. He's absolute
Yeah,
generational legend of the game, isn't he? But he really
I was talking
doesn't,
to
does he sometimes? You know?
Nico, who many of you know, obviously idolizes the fella the other day about him. And like, if you think back to the last World Cup, I thought he was done.
Yeah,
He'd obviously gone south at United, where I think at the time of the World Cup, he might have even been unattached to a club, quite possibly. I don't think he'd joined Al Nasser at that point. And obviously, he actually got left out he got taken out of the Portugal team, basically, didn't he? I mean, Gonçalo Ramos had done
yeah.
quite well during that tournament. He got left out, and you thought, well, this is the beginning of the end. That he won't be at the next one. I also thought at that time Messi won't be at the next one, by the way. And Nico made a great point, actually. He said, like, you got to remember, like, going into that World Cup, because of what had happened at United, like, he wasn't, like, at fitness levels.
Yeah,
But his recovery since then, in the sense that he's still playing for Portugal now, like 3 years on.
and still scoring goals. You know, prior to this game, he was still not just penalties. He was, you know, still a legitimate threat as a number nine. I mean, there's been plenty of chat in the last 2 or 3, 4 major tournaments Portugal have been to about Portugal do have other options in the nine position, with Ramos being one of them. Jota in the last 2 or 3. You know, could Portugal have had more mobile number nines to sort of say enough's enough with Ronaldo? But he's always just kind of kept himself. You do have to give him credit. You know, he just keeps going, doesn't he, and works. No one can question his dedication, but yeah, because of who he is, you know, little incidents like that, you just can't help but they are the chef's kiss moments, aren't they? When
yeah,
like that happens.
it was kind of pantomime stuff, and
Yeah.
it does. I think it's you go, oh yeah, he's still a bit of a cock, isn't he? Basically, I presume
much, yeah.
he's suspended for their first World Cup game now.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it is, it is violent conduct.
So I think it's a 2-game ban, isn't it? International football.
I think it's, well, if it is 2, yeah. I mean, he will obviously miss the game against Armenia,
Yeah,
where Portugal, if they win, will qualify. And then if it is 2, yeah, he should miss the opening game of the World Cup itself, the opening 2, if it's a 3-game ban. So we'll see whether.
I bet he gets off.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know, you've never been sent off before. Make it a 1-game ban. You can imagine it, innit?
That, yeah. I mean, it's the first time in 220 odd games in Portugal he's actually been sent off, which is
correct.
Yeah, you've got to say fair play to that, haven't you?
Nico also said to me this morning, he said, you have to remember we always make a hash of qualifying. And he's right. Portugal, for whatever reason, do quite often make a struggle of qualifying and end up in playoffs.
Yeah.
A draw would be enough against Armenia. I think they can even lose if Hungary and Ireland is a draw. I think they need to win if Hungary win.
Yeah. A win guarantees qualification.
Yeah, you would expect them to do it, even without Ronaldo. England, of course, are long qualified and beat Serbia 2-0 last night. And in their hopes, that means Albania will be one of the European representatives in the playoff after their storming 1-0 victory in Andorra. I quite enjoyed that again from England last night, actually, despite the fact, I mean, it's a friendly, basically, isn't it? But it was from an England's perspective.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too, particularly the first half was a bit sleepy, wasn't it? But the second half, yeah, played some good stuff. I think Tuchel's doing a really good job. I mean, it's pretty hard to judge, isn't it? We always seem to qualify really comfortably, don't we? Well, I think he's been pretty low key, hasn't he, ever since he took over? And I think, in fairness to him, he is putting the team first, isn't he? Ahead of some of the big names that we've got. You look at the substitutions we made last night, and it was like Bellingham, Eze, Foden came on at the same
Like,
time.
wow, this is what, and there's plenty of players missing.
And it's like, it's like rather than shoehorning them all in at the start, have options off the bench when you need them. And when we're in a World Cup in presumably quite high temperatures, having those options off the bench is going to give England the best chance of going as far as possible. And I don't think we can say England are one of the favourites to win the World Cup. But I looked at them last night, and you think, is there a world where England could win that World Cup?
I think there's definitely a case to say we might be near the strongest in terms of depth.
Yeah. They should, without a question, be getting to the quarterfinals of that World Cup, I think. And then
dependent, isn't it?
Anything can happen, couldn't they?
We walk into something like an Argentina in the last 16, it will feel like an away game. Like, it ain't going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy at all, no. But yeah, he's doing really well, I think, Tuchel.
I think he is. I think the Serbia game, the away game, changed the perception because there was a lot of, I want England to be a bit more free flowing and stuff. And it's like, are you not entertained after winning 5-0 in Serbia? And could have been more as well. They put on a brilliant display that night in the game, as we covered at the time. It was like, this was the game that mattered. They did really well in it. The rest is kind of irrelevant, including last night. You even think last night, for Bellingham, Foden, Eze, that could have been like Gordon, Palmer, Madueke.
Yeah.
Like Bowen. So many attacking options, actually.
I thought Eze was great when he came on last night. I mean, I felt a bit sorry for the Serbian right back because just having that feel for the last sort of half an hour or so. I mean, fantastic finish, wasn't it, for the goal? Just right in the top corner. He's great options off the bench.
He's quality, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The first half was amusing in the sense Saka scored this goal, which they were raving about, was one of the greatest volley goals of all time. I think he shins it. Sorry, I'm put it out there. Like, the direction's good. I think he actually shins it. And then he does this weird signal to the bench that they picked up. It was like, I want to be subbed. And obviously there's the whole narrative about him where he's always limping, etc. You think, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm not bothered if you're injured here, mate. Because obviously we're going to play them in a couple of weeks, and I know he's very capable of terrorising us. So I was thinking, I hope he's got a problem. But he just wanted to change his footwear, which is quite ironic after a lot of the attention in the pre-game had been around these shoes that they're supposedly wearing, which is sending neuro messages from the feet to the brain or something.
Is it?
Do we not want to, with footballers, do we not want to send messages from the brain to the feet? Wouldn't that be like more useful?
Nice, yeah.
As Tuchel, but I even like Tuchel's line on that, because you could tell because he got asked about it and he was a bit like, I think it's just nonsense. If the players believe it helps them, I'm fine with it, which is like kind of like the right answer. One of the things I just want to say on England is there's been a lot of talk in the build up to the game of like, we know 7 of the first 11, that kind of gig, and I think we've got to get away from that.
Yeah.
This idea of like, I mean, we know Jordan Pickford's going to play in goal and stuff. But this idea of like, Tuchel knows 7 of his 11 for the World Cup, right? It's 8 games now.
Game dependent.
You think it's like, if we go all the way, you think it's going to be the same 11 all 8 games in really hot conditions when you've got all this depth and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not so much about a best 11 now. It's like you got to use the squad properly. You're going to have that many games to win this tournament.
You think like, for instance, take left back, for example. If you're playing a team where you're expected to win easily, Nico O'Reilly played last night. Very, very impressive, I thought. If you're playing one of the world superpowers, you probably want someone like Tino Livramento at left back, don't you? Someone who's a bit more defensively stable. So, yeah, the world in which a team will just play, roll the same 11 out game to game, I don't think will exist anymore.
I thought he was a major plus last night, by the way.
He was good.
Nico O'Reilly. We've been talking about him quite a bit for FPL recently. And I have to credit Johnny Pringle, our Manchester City correspondent, who really pulled me up on Clash of Correspondence with Simon Bibby the other day, because I'd said to Si, look, I think Hall and Livramento probably are 2 best left back options. Johnny fair gave to him, he was like, I'll tell you what, mate, by next summer I think Nico O'Reilly might be in the team. And when he said it, I didn't think, you're wrong. I thought, You might be right, actually.
Yeah, he's
And
good,
I
isn't
tell
he?
you what, he had a really lovely moment right towards the end where it was with only about 3 minutes to go. And I think the game was still 1-0 at the time. And he's running back towards his own goal. And the obvious thing, he's kind of on the halfway line near enough. The obvious thing would have been just play it 25 yards back to Pickford and don't worry about it. And he kind of looked like he was going to get caught. But actually, he just got his body shaped in the right way and then turned away from the player and carried forward. And I thought, you're in control.
Yeah.
In the sense, so many people wear that shirt and it's like they shrink. It's like, the pressure's too much because the easy thing there under that set was go backwards. Now, listen, if he cocks it up, we call him out. But actually, I thought, you've got self belief and you're not put off by being on this stage. Really well
That's
done.
that's where you see he's obviously spent a lot of time playing further forward, haven't you, rather than at left back.
Midfield player. I saw him playing midfield at Tottenham in the
That's
Carabao Cup last year.
that's midfield ability, isn't it, in a defensive area? So yeah, he's a good player, isn't he? No doubt about that. Yeah.
Good. Listen, we got new options developing between now and the tournament. That's great. And we've kind of highlighted left back as like a real concern. Actually, if you've got O'Reilly, Livramento, and Hall available, someone's not going.
Yeah.
And we've not even mentioned Lewis Skelly.
Lewis Skelly, yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. I wanted to talk about Fulham a little bit because it was quite a bit of speculation early in the week that they were considering potentially pulling the plug. Or actually, no, before we do Fulham, do your international roundup, David. That would be a better link. Sorry, mate.
It's all right. Right, yeah, let's just quickly box off what's happening around the world with the World Cup qualifications. So, Africa, we've got automatic qualifiers in Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, Algeria, Ivory Coast, Tunisia, South Africa, Cape Verde, up the Cape Verde.
Up the Cabo Green.
And Ghana. And there were two playoffs yesterday, both held in Morocco. Nigeria beat Gabon 4-1 after extra time. More goals for Victor Osimhen. Probably need to get him in my UCL fantasy team.
You're too late, mate.
I think the horse has bolted for that one. And in a bit of a surprise, I guess, Cameroon won't qualify for the World Cup. They were beaten by DR Congo yesterday. So
I saw lots of United fans. Our agent Anana's back to help us send Mbeumo back early.
Yeah, so Nigeria will face the Democratic Republic of Congo in Morocco again on Sunday. The winner of that will go through to the intercontinental playoffs in March. More on them shortly. Asia, so we know that Japan, Iran, South Korea, Australia, Qatar, Uzbekistan, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan have qualified. There is a two-legged playoff going on at the moment. So the first leg was yesterday, and it finished United Arab Emirates 1, Iraq 1. The second leg in Iraq will take place on Tuesday. Winner of that on aggregate goes into the playoffs. Europe, so France qualified last night.
Shock.
With a goal from Hugo Ekitike, I noticed. Nice goal as well. So they are, along with England, the only automatic qualifiers at this stage. However, Norway are there, basically. They need to.
Do you not think Italy could beat them 10-0 in the final game, no?
Yeah, they need to avoid defeat by 9 goals in the San Siro to Italy on Sunday in Milan.
Imagine.
Wouldn't it be funny if Italy score in the first minute, won't it? Like just
why? I only need 8 more. What would be really funny is if Italy won about 8-0.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we could say Norway are there.
I think the robot scored again, didn't he? Got a couple, did he?
Another 2, yes, as they beat Estonia 4-1 yesterday. Portugal qualify on Sunday with a win over Armenia. There's quite a lot more permutations in Europe because most teams have got 2 games to play this month. There's playoff permutations, there's Nations League permutations, so we'll perhaps come back to that. CONCACAF. Now this is getting tasty now. So we know that USA, Mexico, and Canada as hosts have qualified. There are 3 groups where the group winners will all qualify. Group A, Suriname beat El Salvador 4-0 overnight. That gives them a great chance of a first World Cup place. They'll level on points with Panama. Suriname will go to 3rd place Guatemala in the early hours of Wednesday morning. And Panama host El Salvador. El Salvador are essentially the whipping boys of this tournament. So I think Panama probably are favourites, but Suriname have got a chance of a very first World Cup place. 600,000 population of Suriname.
Is that it? It's so
Yeah,
small, isn't it? Yeah.
they're located in South America, Suriname, but they are technically a Caribbean country. So competing CONCACAF. Group B, Steve McLaren's Jamaica did not seal it off last night. They
Or seal it up.
or seal it up. Seal it up, isn't it? Yeah. They were held 1-1 in Trinidad and Tobago. So it means they'll now need to beat Curacao to qualify in the early hours of Wednesday. Curacao, population 155,000, so they would be the smallest ever nation to qualify. Dick Advocaat's Curacao. So
it's Dick Advocaat against Steve McLaren for a World Cup place.
Yeah. That's good
amazing.
stuff, that, isn't it? Yeah. Curacao won 7-0 in Bermuda last night, so they're obviously handy. They've got, do you remember Leandro Bacuna, played for Aston Villa?
Yes.
And his brother Juninho Bacuna, who's spent time at Birmingham and Huddersfield. I looked at who their players, a lot of them play in the Eredivisie in Holland and all over Europe, so they do play a good standard of football. Whoever misses out between Jamaica and Curacao is guaranteed a place in the Intercontinental playoffs, so all is not lost, whoever doesn't make it.
Okay, how does that work? Is that the best second place, is it? Or
so yeah, in the three CONCACAF groups, the two best second place teams will qualify for those Intercontinental playoffs. So out of Jamaica and Curacao,
7 teams qualify then, or is it just 2 groups now at this stage?
So there's 3 automatic qualifiers and 3. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, six automatic spots and a potential 7th in the.
So it could have 7 in there from.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Particularly as the tournament's being held there. Okay. I don't know if 7 places should be going there personally, but okay.
Yeah. Finally, Group C, Honduras could have qualified last night, but they were beaten 2-0 to bottom place Nicaragua. So they're now level on points with Haiti, who beat Costa Rica 1-0 overnight. Last fixtures on Wednesday. Costa Rica will play Honduras. Costa Rica are not out of it yet, but they'll need to win to get to the playoffs. And Haiti will take on Nicaragua at home. So Haiti could be in the World Cup. So yeah, the 2 best runners-up will go into.
They played in the Confederation Cup a number of years ago, I want to say. Got slapped a few times, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some teams, with all due respect, in this World Cup who, great for them and great for us.
No, of course. This is the only problem with it, though, isn't it? Like, no one. Like, credit to say we covered last in the summer, like about the Auckland team from New Zealand who ended up getting a point, didn't they, in their group? But you watch them getting slapped like 10-0 by Bayern Munich. It's like, this isn't what it's about.
Yeah, there could be some heavy defeats, I think. But yeah, great for those nations, of course. So we'll see how they get on. South America, nothing's changed. So Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Uruguay, all qualified. Bolivia with a 7th placed team, and they will be in the Intercontinental playoffs. So just quickly to touch upon those, I try to understand a bit more about them. Not actually been confirmed where they will be held yet, but it's believed they'll be in Mexico.
Okay, I thought it was going to be in America, but
yeah, according to Wikipedia, which famously is never wrong, so they could could well be in America, but it sounds like they may be held in Guadalajara and Monterrey. Okay. So we've got an Asian playoff winner, so it'll be either UAE or Iraq. Africa, the playoff winner of that will go through, so either Nigeria or DR Congo. CONCACAF, so 2 of those 3rd round runners-ups will qualify. They can't play each other in this tournament, so they'll be put in different brackets. Bolivia will be there. New Caledonia will be there as Oceania's 2nd nation. New Zealand have already qualified, so there'll be the 2 highest seeds of those countries will go straight through to a one-off final, and the other nations will qualify basically to play those 2 teams.
So a format quite similar to the former Club World Cup, or now the Intercontinental Cup, if it's still going, where like the Champions League winners obviously like skip straight through a round. Obviously,
Yeah.
in that it's skipped to a semi-final, but this is the same. So they've determined the two highest ranking teams will basically be straight through to a final. So I always thought this was going to be three places, but it's only two
It's
places
only two places, yeah.
up for grabs for this. And obviously, we won't find out the final teams till March. So all
Correct.
these teams that are in the playoffs are going to, by effect, I guess, be in the draw.
Yeah. Yeah, three brackets of three. So, but yeah, they sound quite interesting, those intercontinental playoffs. Yeah.
All right,
That's it.
good stuff. It'll all be very clear this time next week. And I'm sure you'll give us a more clarified rundown. Well, we should have what sort of circa probably 36 of the places done, roughly, I think.
Yes, there'll be some. I would imagine there'll be a lot more of a clearer picture in Europe
In
this
fact,
time
it's
next
it's
week.
more than that,
Yeah,
isn't it? Because it will just be the intercontinental plus the European
yeah,
playoffs still to
yeah.
play. It's about 41, I think. Okay.
Give you an update next week on that. Yeah.
I get to Fulham. Sorry, Fulham fans, for keeping you waiting. Although I don't know if you wanted this covered anyway. There was quite a bit of speculation earlier in the week about Marco Silva and Fulham potentially pulling the plug. It's since been reported, I think, from the newspaper and a few other sources that there are talks happening this week to potentially renew Marco Silva's contract. And the report in the paper suggests that one of the reasons why Marco Silva is possibly holding off is he has a massive release clause. You know, if someone wanted to activate it, it's quite big for a manager release clause. And he's been at the club for 5 years. His contract's up at the end of the season. He's not unhappy there. Remember, he turned down a huge money offer from Saudi Arabia to go out there. He's been linked with a Nottingham Forest job quite a bit this year. He was linked with the Tottenham position in the summer. So it's not like he won't have places to go. He would have no trouble walking into another job if Fulham pulled the plug. I wouldn't say he's unhappy there, but he wants reassurances. He wants reassurances of what that football club intends to be going forward. And a lot of the reaction I saw from Fulham fans earlier this week, when there was a little bit of speculation of they might sack him, was, are you mad? You haven't backed him.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't. They don't seem to have been particularly active in the transfer market for quite a while now, do they?
They bought Kevin like on deadline day, didn't they?
Chukwueze, wasn't it, as well? But
Yeah.
yeah, it feels like maybe Silva and Fulham may be coming to the end of a cycle. Really, maybe they just need a bit of a fresh face. But yeah, with that comes high risk, doesn't it? I know you've said a lot, don't you? The way Silva sets up his team, they need a number 9, don't they? And both of them are struggling for fitness at the moment, aren't they? So I don't know whether that will ease after the international break. I guess Muniz he'll have 2 weeks off now, only to maybe try and get a little bit fitter. Presumably Jimenez will be away with Mexico if they've got games. I'm not too sure. I've not checked whether he's in the squad or not. But yeah, I mean, they've only taken 1 point away from home all season. That was on the opening day at Brighton. I mean, that is a worry, isn't it? If you're not picking up any points whatsoever away from home, and it sounded like they were particularly bad at Everton last weekend.
Yeah, that's what's caused the alarm. You lose at Everton, happened, right? But they got well beat.
They got slapped.
And they don't normally. I always refer to them with Palace like, don't love having FPL assets against them. We don't feel like they're going to get slapped. I think it is worth acknowledging that these away games that they've lost since they drew at Brighton, which in itself is not an easy away game. They've lost at Chelsea, lost at Villa, lost at Bournemouth, lost at Newcastle, lost at Everton. Like,
can happen. Yeah.
I mean, we individually would have expected Fulham probably to lose all of those games. I'm pretty sure I predicted myself in every one of those weeks Fulham to lose.
And the Chelsea one was that Josh King goal was ruled out, wasn't it? The Chelsea game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they were winning at Villa. And Jimenez obviously got the injury when he scored. Josh King was really good in that first half.
Yeah.
Villa equalised to start the second half slowly. Okay, fine. They went in front of Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Lost the game eventually. He lost at Newcastle in the last minute. So a little bit of context in here. People have also been mentioning the stat that the only 3 games they've won have featured no goal in them, which is true. But in 2 of those games, they were already ahead when the own goal occurred. Obviously, Goodmanson's own goal was quite a legendary one.
Yeah.
They played all right against Manchester United in game week 2 eventually. I think they started that game quite slow. That was a draw. I don't know, context, but like The schedule's not been great for them. And the three games you would have said, well, really probably need to be winning them, they've won.
They have done, yeah.
Yeah. But I think the manner of the performance at the weekend was a little bit concerning. And I mentioned on Monday's pod, it's very rare that Marco Silva comes out and was like, yeah, we got what we deserved. Nine.
Yeah.
He'll
It's
normally stick up for his team. And its alarm bells a little bit. But as you'd said, and in reference to what I've said previously, they need that number nine to function correctly. Lukic is suspended for the game against Sunderland, so they'll probably go back to the 4-1-4-1 that did quite well against Wolves, and that's how they changed shape later in the game in the second half against Everton as well, which for a period did okay. Then they could have lost by more than what they lost by. So I think he's ambitious. He'll ultimately end up with another job, even if he's still at Fulham in 12 months. He's not going to have his stock wouldn't take a massive hit if Fulham sacked him.
Yeah.
And I think on the outside, it would be easy to say sacking him would be the wrong thing. And I agree with that. But if you're owners of a football club and you're struggling to get your manager to commit, what's the signal?
Yeah, I think, like you say, if he was to walk away from Fulham, he would comfortably get another Premier League job.
He, by the way, in my opinion, is
it.
absolutely right not to.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah, stick or twist, isn't it? For both
they
him
need to sell him a vision. I spoke recently, I think, on our Q&A about the kind of disconnect at Fulham at the moment. Really high ticket prices. They are a relatively small club in terms of Premier League terms. There's a disconnect. I don't think Fulham fans are loving their experience so much or feel a connection with what their football club means to them. And I think Fulham have got to be realistic about that because there's a danger here as well. You change. I have no concerns about Marco Silva's Fulham this season as long as they've got a number 9 available. And I think with all this going on, they'll probably do something for him in January as well if they need to. But if they sacked him, you'd immediately go, ooh.
Whoever they get to risk, isn't it? I mean, I've seen like only like Slack channels and stuff, but obviously Rodgers has left Celtic, hasn't he? If they, let's say, for the sake of argument, they were to hire Brendan Rodgers, perfectly, gifted Premier League manager in his own right, but there would come some risk with that, wouldn't they, if they were to get someone like that? Because you just don't know how it would go, would you? And looking at, if you look at the table at the moment, it's just so bunched, isn't it? You take Wolves out of it at the moment. I think we all think that Leeds and Burnley, although they've started well and have shown that they're competitive at this level, they probably will be in some sort of relegation scrap, but they're not a million miles away. And there are clubs, Fulham being one of them, that are in it at the moment, aren't they? So, and when you don't pick any points up away from home and are reliant on your home form, you've got to address that away form.
And that's why I do think part of the reason for the enclosure on this topic to speak about it now is I think there's a potential build up of something here that becomes quite concerning.
Yeah.
If they don't beat Sunderland. If they don't beat Sunderland, then you're looking at going trip to Tottenham, home games against City, home game against Palace, who went to Craven Cottage and won comfortably twice last season. And then thinking, oh, you're in it.
I think it's quite telling.
That could be a build up here over the next 4 weeks or so.
Yeah, I mean, me being on free hit next week, start the season, I would have seen Fulham Sunderland as like a free hit game, wouldn't I, to sort of steam into Fulham. And I know that's a lot more to do with Sunderland than Fulham to an extent. Sunderland have been fantastic, haven't they? But having had a look at what I might do, Fulham haven't really come into my thinking at all.
No, it's being avoided, I think.
Yeah.
I'm
sure they'll be fine.
You can, if you want, David, go for some Wolves players on your free hit. Manager bounce, new manager, Rob Edwards appointed. We're going to have a look at Wolves versus Crystal Palace next week and looking at this more from the Wolves lens of things. So,
did you want to do Harvey Elliott first?
Oh, geez, I'm right terrible on the bloody schedule this week, can I? God, right. Do you know what it is? It's got nothing to look forward to this weekend.
Yeah, it's not much going on.
Other than England again, which actually is all right at the moment. Yeah, Harvey Elliott. Thank you, David.
That's right.
Harvey Elliott, who Fulham fans are probably not, they don't like him, so that's probably their up at the moment. Harvey Elliott's been jettisoned. It's not going well. So I mentioned on our Tottenham podcast with Suj earlier this week that I thought Harvey Elliott would be a good little solution for West Ham. Potentially. He was talking about the idea about Paquetá going into business. If West Ham want to re-energise the squad, you probably still get some good money for him. What would be like a short-term fix that works for everybody? Well, Elliott's not getting minutes at Villa. Liverpool seemingly don't want him back. Maybe he could go to West Ham. It's complicated, and by the way, that can't happen. That can't happen because Harvey Elliott appeared as a 96th minute substitute in Liverpool's victory at Newcastle in game week 2. You can only play for 3 clubs in a season. So, Harvey Elliott cannot go anywhere else from Aston Villa. And for those of you who heard Clash to Correspondence a couple of weeks ago with Dan Lord and Lee Jackson said to us that basically there was a clause in the contract where Villa had to buy him once Harvey Elliott had appeared 10 times for Aston Villa. That's now been backed up by an article, I think, by Jacob Tanswell in The Athletic, where he said, yep, once he plays 10 times for Villa, it's automatic trigger that Villa have to buy him from Liverpool for 30 million.
That's all comps as well, is it? Because he can't come on in Europe either, can he?
I think it is all comps, and he's on 6 appearances. He's not even featured in their last couple of Europa League games.
Yeah, I noticed,
Now, it is worth saying that there are players who have gone to Villa even under Unai Emery and been really slow to adapt. Cast your mind back a few years ago, we were sitting here in November and Youri Tielemans hadn't started for Villa yet. That seems remarkable. Youri Tielemans has been pretty integral for Aston Villa since that period. So Emery has spoken publicly positively about him. He's training well. He just needs to integrate in terms of what our ideas are and stuff like that. But I think what's also happened was at the start of the season, they didn't score in the opening weeks. We felt like there was a real creativity issue with him. Elliott will fix it. A few people dived in and bought him for FPL instantly. Elliott came on as a substitute at Sunderland. They drew 1-1. They should have won the game. Sunderland were down to 10 men. Emery was quite critical of Elliott afterwards about wanting him to make an extra pass, about taking his time over things more. Reflected on that, I think he is quite a steady player from that perspective. He's not someone to look at and think you rush things, but fair enough. You know what you want from your team. And since then, I think the thing that's really surprised at Villa has been the form of Emi Buendia.
Yeah, he's been good.
Emi Buendia has been playing really well for Villa. Went out on loan last year, kind of forgotten about, almost surplus to requirements, it felt like, after he'd had a really bad injury a couple of years ago. He's been doing really well for Villa this year and has kind of plugged up that problem. You can obviously play Rodgers in the sanctuary in that 10 role like we saw at Liverpool. John McGinn can play that role as well as an aggressive presser. He's also used Ross Barkley in that role. He's also earlier this season used Youri Tielemans in that role. Did Villa actually need a 10 after all?
Buendia might have muddied the waters there, mightn't he? Yeah, I think you're right. The thing with Elliott is he's not blessed with massive pace.
No.
So putting him in a wide area, if Emery really wants his wide players to be very, very quick, Elliott's not your guy for that, I don't think. I think there's got to be something in this clause, hasn't there? Because if he's not even sort of coming on in Europa games, then it's because he's not cheap, is he, to trigger the permanent deal? Maybe the club are on board with this. That
it could be,
because I don't think I can't imagine. You never know, do you? But I can't imagine it's anything to do with his professionalism or his character or anything. Because
no, let's not be in question.
Everyone in Liverpool loved Harvey Elliott, so maybe he's just not Emery's cup of tea, or Emery's decided other options are just better.
It was England's best player in the under-21 Euros.
Yeah.
We might have even been, I realise there's huge competition for places in that England squad, but we might have even been looking at him going, he might have a chance to go into the World Cup. That, unless something incredible happens over the next 6 months, is now at a no-chance stage. He's moved on from Liverpool for this loan, knowing that Villa needed creativity, thinking that he's probably going to be it. Ironically, he would have played more if he'd been at Liverpool.
I think we said at the time, didn't we, when the transfer was done, we were rounding up the transfers at the end of the window, and we were both like, yeah,
30 million, perfectly reasonable these days.
Good move for Elliott. Villa needs someone like him. It'll work out quite well, but yeah, it's not. I don't think Slot's ever truly fancied him, like not in the same way that Klopp did.
He's definitely got ability though. Like
100%.
The defeat to Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final, and he came on the pitch towards the end. He was the first player who wanted to play vertical passes. Yeah. He got on it and trying to make things happen and stuff. So he's now in this state of limbo. And if this is a situation, we don't know it is, he could legitimately, Emery's like, I need to get you
It could be.
really understand now we're playing. But you can't help but look at it on the outside and think Villa don't want to get to these 10 appearances.
If it seems that way, doesn't
He
it?
can't go anywhere else but back to Liverpool.
Mm.
And I
Yeah,
don't know if Liverpool want him.
tough, isn't it? Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, I watched like the semis and the final of that under 21 tournament in the summer, and he was absolutely he's
It's
England's
terrific.
playmaker. Yeah, he was great. It's just a shame it's working out like this by all accounts because it's just the fact he came on in that Newcastle game. It's just really stitched him up, really, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
I
If he's not going to
think
play for Villa.
if he hadn't had that appearance for Liverpool, we would be looking now and going, right, okay, it's not worked at Villa. Could he go somewhere like West Ham, get himself back in the frame and do a really good job for them till the end of the year, for example? The answer would be like a yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I hope that doesn't become a footballer that doesn't play for the next 6 months, who's obviously very talented.
be a real shame that. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Right, Palace Wolves fans, kept you waiting, but we'll get there. Have I missed anything else, David?
No, we're good to go. I think.
All right, fantastic. What I've got on screen is a graphic, kind of showing you how the two teams lined up in their respective games previously. Obviously, Wolves beaten 3-0 at Chelsea. Palace, obviously, 0-0 draw against Brighton. We know what we get from Palace, right? Some of the individuals might change in a sense. Mark Gay didn't start against Brighton. Cambo played that position, but system wise, we pretty much know what we get. What Wolves had at Chelsea was a real lean towards the left hand side, and it's not something that's completely uncommon with them because Toti Gomez, I think, it's quite natural to go into that left back position. Previously, though, you had Reine Nori playing ahead of it, he could go into central midfield if he wanted to, right? Kind of had license from that left wing back position to go where he wanted. Hugo Bueno is not of the same quality. Now, new manager in, no idea if that sticks. With Rob Edwards, it's probably likely, I think, to look something a little bit more like this, more like a 3-4-2-1. And what I've shown here is a graphic essentially with the same players that played at Chelsea, just without that kind of lean to the left-hand side. It's almost matching up against Crystal Palace. The thing with Rob Edwards is done, we noticed from Luton, where he kind of favoured a back three, but did change from it. If you look at him at Middlesbrough this year, it is kind of almost 50-50 between back three and back four. The reason I think he'll probably go down the route of a back three is the availability of players. So what I've done here in terms of Wolves setting them up in more like a 4-3-3 here is setting them up with the same players. Now, in terms of the wide options, if it wasn't things like Hwang and Bellegarde, with Rodrigo Gomez injured, I don't even know what it is, David.
No, I was doing a little bit of research just about is Rob Edwards wedded to a particular system, and I think you're right.
No.
He kind of prefers a back three, but not overwhelmingly. He's happy to go with a back four if he thinks the squad is more suited to that. I think you're right. I mean, Wolves. I mean, they've not been great no matter what system they've been playing off, but they are at least used to playing with a back three. So feels we are guessing obviously, but it feels like that is more suited for the personnel and availability that Wolves have at the moment. So yeah, we'll see what he goes with. But obviously Palace are very well drilled in a back three, aren't they? So
Correct.
Matching up against that, is that the best thing to do? We'll find out. It might not matter what they do, because Palace are just a better team, aren't they?
Well, this is part of the problem that I want to show in a sec. So just on Palace briefly, obviously Kamada played a more offensive role against Brighton. It could well be that he drops in a bit deeper. Jeremy Pino comes back in the team. If Mark Gay's fit, we know he comes back in the team. With Palace, it's like the easiest read every week. Yeah. You know exactly what you're getting from them. A little bit more lean in terms of Munoz offensively rather than Tyreek Mitchell. By the way, I thought Tyreek Mitchell was outstanding in that game against Brighton. To go back to England left backs, he's not going to get a look in, I'm afraid.
No.
So what I've looked at here, and the reason that I put Wolves in this system is I actually think that probably for them specifically, going against Palace with a back four would probably be the play. And I'll show you why in a second. So what I've got here is Chachura and Hugo Bueno as the fullbacks, Santiago Bueno, Toti Gomez as the centre backs, Andre kind of real deep line as a six, Joao Gomez and Krejci moving from defence into midfield. He's flip-flop between the two. Bellegarde and Huang. And obviously, what you can do with that as well, you could put Huang right up top. You could go with a diamond. There's different things. You can shift the system with that personnel. The big problem is the actual threat at that top end. Many listeners to this podcast will know I think Andre and particularly Joao Gomez are really good footballers. So that's the strength for the team. And I don't mind if Wolves want to go in a man-to-man battle with Crystal Palace in the midfield area. When I show this graphic of a potential man-to-man across the pitch, if Wolves play a back three, you can look at the battles of, say, this is putting Krejci back at the heart of defence, Joao Gomez and Andre against Kamada and Wharton, and go, you'll have a battle in there. The problem is they lose a man-to-man duels all across the pitch if they go man-to-man. And you look at Palace's front three, particularly versus Wolves' back three, and you kind of want to put your hands over your eyes just looking at it. And even things like Munoz against Bueno,
Yeah,
right?
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, and you think, okay. Now, the problem, I think this is a really bad fixture for Wolves. Might not play out this way, but I think it's a really bad fixture for Rob Edwards, because what you really want to do here is, I think Wolves, certainly the supporters are, at least the club might not be, but the supporters are realistic about their plight, right? They're on 2 points. No one's stayed up with 2 points from 10 games. It's unlikely they get out of this. So what Wolves fans want to see is their team, I presume, would be to go and see their team be aggressive and put on something where they can get a little bit of belief. Now, the easy way to do that is to go man-to-man, be aggressive over the pitch, play high tempo and try and get your crowd on your side. And I think that would be the instinct of what Edwards wants to do. One of the reasons Edwards taken the job is he has an understanding of relationship with Wolves. This will be his fourth spell at the club across playing and coaching. It's part way he's taken the job. I know on the outside there's a lot of why has he done it. It's kind of effectively his club.
Yeah.
His family lives local. I can understand the reasons why Middlesbrough fans are upset. Middlesbrough fans shouldn't look at it as he's left us to go to the worst team in the Premier League at the moment. They should probably look at the lens beyond that and know that they've had a good start to the season. It's unfortunate for them. I totally get the anger. Hopefully they'll still do well the rest of this season. I feel like it's been sold from Wolves fans as almost like, right, we're getting someone in charge who understands you and what you want. And the best of Wolves we see in the Premier League is obviously kind of Nuno's back three, kind of defensive, good counter-attacking players. The problem is they haven't got that quality at the top. And we're not talking about Traore, Jota and Jimenez peak stuff here, right? Like it's not. Larson is a good number 9, but that's not his game, right? Get it into him and around him or put crosses in for him, fine. And it's not the likes of even peak Matt Doherty, let's say, at wing back. And Johnny, the original Wolves version before it later became obviously Aït-Nouri and Nelson Semedo. Haven't got the quality. So if they went man-to-man and went aggressive all over the pitch, I feel like you're going to lose so many individual battles. And that top end, it looks scary. I think about like Mateta against Krejci. And like if you are going to be brave and go like that man-to-man, you're in so much trouble.
Yeah, it makes pretty grim reading, doesn't it? The individual battles, aside from, as you say, the central midfield battle, where they've got two fantastic options there, haven't they? Wolves, Gomez and Andre. But yeah, I mean, when you see it in the wide areas, certainly on the right hand side. I mean, Munoz gives anyone a tough time, doesn't he? It doesn't even matter who you'd put for any team. It's a hard day's work, isn't it, against Daniel Munoz? But yeah, it's not. If you were to pick your ideal first game as Rob Edwards, you probably wouldn't have Palace.
No, it feels like it's because of this specifically and Palace, because I think with what Wolves have got, I think the setup for them is probably right is going to be back three. Unfortunately, even though despite the fact that the wing backs is a real concern, almost having shit fullbacks and shit wingers is worse than just having shit wing backs. Actually, that's how it feels to me.
Yeah.
So I think a back three probably is the right setup for them, but then matching up against Palace. Like if you want to be aggressive, because it's first game man to man, I can foresee problems. I don't think they do it. I think you get something that looks a little bit more like kind of old style Wolves under Nuno, and you do the back three, but we're talking more like a 5-4-1 here, and you pose problems to Palace to say, right, what have you got? So I think although the crowd will probably want to see a high energetic performance, the matchup dictates that they probably should not go down that route. And the best route to hurt Palace will probably be to give Palace some encouragement, because Palace's speed on the break with the likes of Sarr, Munoz, that tandem down the right-hand side, and them finding space. They're players who capitalise on space, I think, particularly. Don't give it to them. Go low. This final image is showing essentially just an imagination here that Palace are on the ball and Wolves essentially backing off and retreating and making space difficult. The space against the kind of a midfield two, if it's Joao Gomez and Andre with a back five behind it, is very much to the side. So you're asking your centre backs to step out in those sort of occurrences, but rather than going man to man and being aggressive all over the pitch, it will make space difficult to find. It allows Joao Gomez and Andre to still engage with the two midfield players. You're tucking the two wide players inside the game. So fine, Munoz and Mitchell can have their 1v1s in wide areas, and then you're hoping that Hwang and Bellegarde retreat into those wide areas to double up if there's a dominance to one side or the other. That's the strategy I think we've got to go with against Palace, is to go deep and let Palace have it.
Stay in the game as long as they can, yeah.
Unfortunately, yes, because the individual jewels all over the pitch. The problem is what Wolves will face, and people go, we have individual jewels against everybody. Like that won't work because they're weaker. But the actual matching up of the particular formation is particularly bad, because at least if you're playing against a team that's playing a back four, you can have one of your three centre backs like step out onto a 10. Example being, say, Luke Shaw against Xabi Simons at the weekend, right? Going and following around the pitch. We also saw Shaw do that against Jorginho Rutter. If you've got like the 110 in there, it's fine. If it's the 210s operating in the half spaces, you are ending up going man to man. You need to draw in deeper if you're weaker.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Rob Edwards will probably go for. If he goes man to man and aggressive, they'll get slaughtered.
I agree.
Probably.
Yeah.
So I don't think he will. I do think there probably will be a preference for a back three from Wolves. Some of the personnel may change. I look at that. If they were to be aggressive like Krejci against Mateta, are you almost better off putting someone in there like Agbadu or Mosquera from a physicality perspective? Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. Before we finish, we're obviously not going to do free hit and wildcard drafts this week. We'll do it when it's a little bit more relevant. And a reminder, the weekend will be out on Thursday next week. So we'll have all the information from the internationals, etc. And David will have his free hit 100% locked in on Thursday, won't you, David?
Not about 100%. I'll
tell you what won't be locked in as a certainty. Such as bloody wild card, but we'll look at some wild card drafts next Thursday as well. What I wanted to look at on this one as a little bit as an alternative was a kind of just a little bit of a fun 20 players, A versus B. So almost imagining that you're buying a new player here. There's going to be a crowd that's going to be on wild card soon. We're not talking about selling one player for another. We're literally looking at this through a lens of you don't own either. You want to buy one of these two players. Which one will you go for? And we'll start with a couple of goalkeeper options. David Raya versus Gianluigi Donnarumma. Raya in at 5.9. Donnarumma 5.7. Where we won't at this moment cover the merits of paying for a goalkeeper at that price. But if you want one, David, which one are you going?
I'm just going to go on gut instinct with all of these.
Okay, so fine. I'm going to do the same.
I'm probably going to say Donnarumma because I feel like with Raya, it's just like 6 points max with an Arsenal keeper. So
it's the same with Donnarumma, though, mate.
Yeah, I know, but there's a clear like other three outfield. There's more than three outfield options for Arsenal. Maybe there will be for City once things become a bit clearer. But yeah, I would go Donnarumma. He's cheaper as well, isn't he? I don't think I'd go with either, being brutally honest. But of the two, I'd say Donnarumma.
I'd go the other way, I think. Little bit more trust in Arsenal. I think we're saying that so far this season. I also think that Arsenal's fixtures are a bit tougher. That might sound conflicting, but there might be across some of these away games, particularly the Chelsea's, Villas, Everton's, Bournemouth. There might be some in there that's more than 6 points for David Raya. I look at City's fixtures and think, I don't think that there is.
Maybe
he's
so.
Six. He really is 6 or 2, I think. And for those who say the same about Raya, you got to remember he only got a 1-pointer at Sunderland, right? But most commonly, yes, the two of these probably will be 6s or 2s. I think the draw to Donnarumma as well is there's less defensive coverage you want from City. We have a really good chat about Nico O'Reilly. We'll speak about in a second on Clash to Correspondence. But Diaz, Vardiol don't feel like they could be it at the moment. So it does feel like there's more choice from Arsenal. So I feel like the Donnarumma choice becomes, I want a bit of City. The fixtures are good after the trip to St James's. Whereas Raya probably will end the season as the highest scoring keeper. I realise he's not at the moment, but he probably will be at the end of this season.
Yeah.
I'd probably just lean for Raya, but I also agree with your point, David. It would be neither for me. So I'm looking for a goalkeeper on wildcard shortly. What about these two 4.5 options? Petrovic versus Kelleher.
This is clear Petrovic for me. When I do my wild, I mean, I've had him all season, Petrovic. Not that I think he's a great keeper particularly, or Bournemouth are massively tight defensively, but think of the 4.5s. Keller probably is the next best one. Although roasted well, hasn't he? For some,
Yeah, I think the problem is if you're buying new, and like those on Robin Roast are going to continue.
yeah,
You look at games coming up, like the fact they've got like Liverpool and City away consecutive.
yeah,
He's like in 14, 15. Like that is quite off-putting.
yeah. I think I go Petrovic. Having not had Senesi at any point this season, he's at least covered off the clean sheet side of things since I've had him. So tough one. I mean, Brentford are doing all right, aren't they? And
They are.
they've been pretty good at the G-Tech, and I wouldn't say they're particularly leaky. They are reasonably robust defensively, but I just think Bournemouth are a better side. And when I come to wildcard, I'd be amazed if I got Kelleher as one of my keepers, and I'm pretty sure Petrovic will be one of them. So I'll say Petrovic.
Kelleher's decent on pens. Does that
Yeah,
factor in at all
very
when you buy
decent.
like a 4.5 goalkeeper?
Not really. Not for
No.
me. No.
We know it's whole potential though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. He saved one from Ronaldo, didn't he? In Portugal the other month. He is really good on penalties. Yeah, in a way that Allison isn't. But yeah. If you're asking out the two, I'd say Petrovic for me. I think.
Do you also factor in like again, would your answer be different if you're buying new and say you'd own Senesi all this way through from like 4.5? Does that change the answer?
I don't think so for me. No, no. I just think Bournemouth are a better side, aren't they? I,
The problem with that then though is you potentially cut yourself off with Bournemouth because if you've got Senesi, you've probably got Semenyo, you go Petrovic. If it's like, oh my god, imagine Krupi
Troop,
suddenly is in the team every week. You've that would be the one for me, I think,
yeah.
because I
Just deal with
think
it. Deal with it then, though. Like you
I,
don't need to worry about
I
it.
I wouldn't want to end up with the treble Bournemouth. Yeah, but if you end up dealing with it, you end up going to deal with a goalkeeper anyway, right? Because if you've got all this value in Senesi and Semenyo, you don't want to sell them.
Yeah,
So I think under that circumstance, I'd go Kelleher because I just wouldn't want to cut off. Oh my God, Evan Nilsson's got a bad injury. Krupi's going to play every week. It's two transfers to deal with that. And actually, it's probably free because you're probably going to land with money in the bank if you're on a front three setup. That then
yeah.
means you've got to spread that money. So by consequence of going Petrovic could cause you free transfers later on. So under that circumstance, Kelleher. But otherwise, I agree with you, Petrovic.
Two disagreements out two so far. Can we get
It's good, yeah.
can we get the clean sweep?
Timber versus Van Dijk. Timber 6.1. Big Verge has dropped to 5.9. Well documented these Liverpool fixtures coming up. He's pretty much the only one we can rely on, except as people keep pointing out, should we be relying on Liverpool defensively? Well, maybe not. No.
I mean, it sounds fairly mental for me to say Virgil to this, given the state we're in at the moment and the state Arsenal have been in all season. But I'd probably say Van Dijk just because of the fixtures that are coming. And, he had a goal ruled out at the weekend. He is a threat from corners. There's not a massive amount of Liverpool options at the moment, well documented. Not that Timber's a bad asset at all. I mean, I've got Timber. But one or the other, I'd probably say Van Dijk, I think.
Yeah, both is fine, by the way. I mean, you line up with them two and Gabriel and
I've
just
got the pair of them. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
forget about your team for a while. I'm likely to be on wildcard soon. As long as Van Dijk's fit, he'll definitely be going in.
Yeah.
Timber is not assured for me.
Same.
It's a consequence of thinking about the December period and knowing that things like Wolves at home, I think particularly in 16, there's every chance that like Ben White plays and stuff and they'll feel like they'll get away with it. Van Dijk, I don't have to question any game. The fixtures are good until Liverpool go to Arsenal basically in game week 21. He's got more DEFCON potential. We know that there is therefore a chance that if he knocks one in like at the weekend, it could be a 15, 17 pointer. Timber gets in some nice open play positions. Him and Calafiori both fine. I just think timing wise, if you're buying one new now, i.e. you own neither, you go Van Dijk,
I agree.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, for same price then at the moment, another two players I'm really considering. Senesi versus Lacroix.
That's tough.
And I only mention Lacroix at this moment rather than say Gay because Gay might be injured. So I don't want that kind of being a lean into the thinking. Lacroix has played every game for Crystal Palace across all competitions so far this season. Senesi started every Premier League game. Senesi's been brilliant for DEFCONs. Lacroix will get little bits as well. Palace feel a little bit more likely to keep more clean sheets than Bournemouth, I'd say. Go on then.
It's tough. That is a proper coin toss. I mean, you could have both on wildcard, couldn't you?
I might be, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, Senesi's DEFCONs are so consistent, aren't they? I'm going to say Lacroix, though, just about. If it's one or the other, at no point have I had Senesi because I've had Petrovic, as I said before. But I might not have Lacroix on wildcard either if I go for Munoz as one of my three Palace. Yeah, that is tough. That I gut feeling is Lacroix. I think just about.
I agree. I think there's also a psychological for someone like me who's not owned Senesi this season to think, well, I've missed out on 0.5 here.
Yeah, same.
There is a psychological of that. However, I think if I had the choice between the two, because I've taken Senesi on all this period, I think I keep doing it, and I'd go for Lacroix. I think there's a haul around the corner for him somewhere, a big one.
Don't disagree. Yeah.
Couple of slightly cheaper players, also at the same price. Bit of a continuation from Wednesday night. Sorry, clash of correspondence. Malik Chow of Newcastle 4.9 versus Nico O'Reilly.
I think that's O'Reilly for me. Pretty sure on that one. Chow's been really good, hasn't he, for Newcastle? I'm not totally convinced about his attacking threat, but they've been poor away from home, Newcastle, haven't they, this season? O'Reilly, as we saw last night, is playing really well. City coming into some good fixtures. He's got potential attacking threat. So I'd go O'Reilly for that.
Another one, I think both are very, very reasonable picks. One benefit the Chow probably over O'Reilly might be minutes. Now, as covered on COTC, O'Reilly started every game since they lost at Brighton in game week 3 in the Premier League except one. And that was the game they lost at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Correlation, possibly. I don't think Doku started that fixture at Villa, by the way, either. Preference for me is O'Reilly. Some people over this period might have other more risk players, though. And like a number of other players, like, I don't know if he's going to start. The more O'Reillys and Timbers you put in, I think, like, particularly game week 14, you're like, Whereas I can tell you that with confidence that Chow will start against Tottenham in the same game week. So does that factor in at all?
I just think O'Reilly seems the right time for him, doesn't he?
Feels like he could be really good, yeah.
Yeah, I'd go O'Reilly.
Yeah, he's one of the few players I've really looked at in consideration this year who hasn't played for Arsenal, who is not going to pick up many DEFCONs. Although I think he did against you, I want to say, David. I think he just about did. He's actually been close a couple of times, but he's not getting picked for DEFCON stuff. He's potentially getting picked up for old school FPL stuff. I.e., I can see you get into really advanced positions with Jeremy Doku going central. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly that. City's fixture's good as well. I think I would chance my arm on Nico O'Reilly on that one. Couple of 4.5s. Joachim Andersen versus Michael Keane.
That's another tough one. Kind of, are you blinded by Keane's haul last weekend? Maybe, but he is a threat, isn't he? From
and Sean said this to us long time ago, talking about Tarkovsky's DEFCONs, about Keane being the bigger threat on set plays.
Yeah, Andersen also very good for DEFCONs. Feels like his attacking threat, and Fulham aren't playing that well, is maybe slightly lower than Keane's at the moment. I know you were talking, weren't you, on COTC about, is there a world where Keane comes out of the team if Moyes continues to play Garner at right back and moves Jake O'Brien into centre back? Gut feel Keane, just about. This Sunderland game, Fulham have got is a bit sticky, I think, isn't it, for someone like Andersen? And then the fixtures after that are not quite as good, are they?
I'm probably going to play Anderson myself.
Yeah, that's a coin toss for me. That's probably gut feeling is Keane after the week he's just
I
had. But
guess once you
maybe just
start
missed
hitting
the
this
points.
value as well, it possibly becomes when do you need. Like
Yeah,
I wouldn't be comfortable. I don't think if I look at Everton's next six, United away, Newcastle at home, Bournemouth away, Forest at home, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home. Right, I don't want to be starting Michael Keane every week. And we mentioned about Anderson having that Tottenham away, City at home, Palace at home, 13 to 15. I'm paying Anderson all those fixtures either. So it probably might even fall into line of right, which player do I want when Senesi gets like Chelsea and Arsenal in 1920 and Chelsea and United in 15-16. It might even be like what sits better for that sort of example.
yeah. I
That,
can't
by
see
the
me
way,
going either in wildcard. Being honest, either of those two. I don't think.
probably not. I think slight favoritism for me would be Anderson.
Yeah,
I think Michael Keane will stay in Everton's team, but there is the little bit of threat there for Jake O'Brien, and I think that threat also sits there for some of the easier fixtures, by the way, rather than some of the tougher ones. Jared Branthwaite presumably is not me back till sort of January time, but ultimately at some point it is going to become a problem. Whatever Fulham do, even if they sacked Marco Silva and changed managers, I don't foresee a circumstance where if they move to a back three under a different manager, Joachim Andersen probably is even better for DEFCONs
yeah,
because he'd probably sit in the middle of it, I should imagine. And I don't foresee a scenario where someone else would come in a back four and suddenly think he's not my right-sided centre back. Like he said, Diop's not getting picked over him, for example. So I just think longer term, without wanting to piss about it, slight preference for Anderson. But Keane is the bigger goal threat, no doubt.
yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
Brian Mbeumo versus Antoine Semenyo. Mbeumo 8.5, Semenyo 8.1. Now again, remember this is a like buy one if you don't own either.
Well, having not had Semenyo at any point, that's just an example of the kind of FPL
This is
manager you're dealing.
exactly why I included this, David.
Yeah, it's the kind of FPL manager you're dealing with me, just avoiding all the Semenyo's points. I've got to keep taking him on, I think. So it'd be Boomo for me. Free hit next week. There's a good chance I'll have the pair of them. But I just think I've come this far without without having him. I'd probably go Boomo myself, but I should have got Semenyo in much earlier than I did. I'm the first to hold my hands up on that one.
Can I tell you that Brian Bumo's last fixture at Manchester United before AFCON might be game week 16? There is obviously the possibility that he might play at Aston Villa in game week 17. But imagine it's game week 16 and you go Bumo and then you sell. You know what Semenyo's got in 17? Burnley at home, mate.
Yeah,
That's gonna be staring at you, mate.
yeah. Even I can't miss that one. Hopefully,
Well, you can because I think at that point you go, well, I want to carry Cunha for the next number of weeks in Brumo's absence, and that would be perfectly reasonable. That's the sort of move that I'm thinking. But also have Semenyo sitting there. I think at this moment, truthfully, if it was a choice of buying one new and I'd not owned, yeah, I actually think, although it would be a shorter term and it involves another transfer, yeah, I would go Bumo.
yeah, agree.
Dominic Szoboszlai, 6.6, one yellow card from a ban
Correct.
versus Jeremy Doku, 6.4, who well, I'm sure will get one game bans by virtue of Pep just putting splinters on his arse on the bench.
Yeah, easy one that Doku. I think more explosive.
Easy, yeah?
Yeah, I
Even if it's now, Liverpool and the Forest, the wild carders want to go Liverpool players, mate. Like those on it now.
uh, he's been brilliant, Dom, this season. But I can pick up the odd attacking return. Reasonable for DefCons. Fixtures are good. I get it. But yeah, Doco's just playing so well, isn't he, at the moment? The tough fixture this week, no doubt about that. But after that, I'd punt it. More the higher ceiling, I think, for Doku, in my opinion.
Unbelievably, I think I agree with you.
We got one.
Okay. No, that's not the first one. A couple of forwards to finish with, or four forwards. Firstly, Joao Pedro 7.5 versus Newcastle United's Nick Woltemade at 7.4. I hope none of these players changed in price last night, by the way. I didn't check.
Uh, Voltemade, probably. Gone cold on the pair of them, if I'm being honest.
Mm.
I think, like you've said, it's clear three for the wild card of Haaland, Mateta, Thiago for me on wild card. I noted that Sai said Voltemade's ceiling's fairly low. He thinks, doesn't he? It's like, could you see him really getting multiple attacking returns? Maybe not.
Good run coming though.
Yeah. I mean, I've had Pedro up until I sold him for Mateta a couple of game weeks ago. Wasn't fun owning Pedro. And then did well at your place, didn't he? And then he got the goal at the weekend against Wolves. He just hasn't been shooting that much, has he? Yeah, I gut feel is Voltemade, but I could be swayed to Pedro if you put a good case for it. I know he's got Burnley this week, hasn't he?
No, I won't. I think we couldn't even look at Joao Pedro as a definitive 100% starter at Burnley, considering they've got Barcelona 3 days later. Yes, in terms of fixtures for game week 12, sure. But if I was in a scenario where, I don't know, I owned Mateta and he got injured and I was buying one of those two players, Voltemade. Yeah, I think there might be some frustrations in there, but he's performed quite well in home games so far. I think I look at 14-15, think that's really good. Tottenham at home, Burnley at home. There's then a kind of run kind of as we hit the edge of New Year. I mean, if you look at, say, 19-22, there's Burnley, Leeds, Wolves all in that period. That could easily be the bottom three this season. So I think Voltemade actually would be the one for me.
Yeah.
Final one. I probably know the answer for this, David, because you kind of almost already told us. But Danny Welbeck, 6.5 versus Igor Thiago, 6.3. You heard COTC. Sai was not, he was like, Thiago's shit. I was like, he scored twice against you, mate. Calm down. But if you look over the next four, and obviously they play each other this weekend, you would have to say those next four fixtures are much better for Welbeck than they are for Thiago.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but a wild card's for multiple weeks, isn't it? More than four.
You're forced into using some transfers over this period. Everybody is.
Yeah, you can punt stuff, can't you? Yeah. Welbeck's not the worst idea. He's having a good season, isn't he? He seems to be clear option up front for Brighton. I accept that Brentford at home is a good fixture for them. Better fixture than Thiago with Brighton away, isn't it? But yeah, I'm pretty hell-bent on Thiago and wildcard. I think I've unlike Sai, I've been reasonably impressed when I've seen him. He looks clear talisman for Brentford already, doesn't he? And nice price. I think I'll be going with him.
I would be very tempted to go Welbeck at this moment. By the way, I'm wildcarding 13 and it'll probably be Thiago for me. It's just the way it sits better with Burnley home game. And I've kind of got an idea to maybe even flip that to Woltemade for those two Newcastle home games and then flip it back. But I think if I was buying new now, I'd go Welbeck. Brighton got 3 home games versus Brentford's 3 away games over the next 4. Those Brentford away games were at Brighton, Arsenal, Tottenham. It's not great. Yes, there's the Burnley game in there. Whereas Welbeck has Brentford at home, Villa at home, West Ham at home, and a trip to Forest. And then in 16, you've given 5 free transfers. So you're forced to use at least, think about it logically, you are forced to use at least one transfer in game week 16. Forced.
Yeah.
And if Welbeck's going to Liverpool and Thiago's got Leeds at home, and there's 0.2 difference between them.
Can make the switch then, yeah.
I think so. I think timing-wise, it would be Welbeck this week. I'd chance that.
Fair play, yeah.
Whether he makes it fit through 4 game weeks, touch wood for them that he does. David, thank you very much. Very enjoyable. As said, a reminder, everyone, the weekend will be next Thursday. There will be a clash of correspondence next Friday. That is Danny Welbeck versus Igor Thiago, Brighton versus Brentford, with Sam Murray and Tom Med. I have a special guest on Monday's podcast. You may know him. It's Mr. Harry Daniels, who some of you know as FPL Harry. One of the best FPL managers in the world. There, I said it here because I won't say it to his face on Monday. As always, everyone, please smash a like, hit the sub button. For the audio listeners, a 5-star review goes a really long way. Have a great weekend, everyone. Cue music, please, man child.